I'm holding something in my hand right now that could be worth more than a brand new luxury car, and most people throw these away without a second thought. This tiny piece of metal, barely larger than a button, has sold at auctions for prices that would make your jaw drop to the floor. Before I reveal which coin I'm talking about, let me tell you this. If your grandparents lived in South Africa during the 1950s and 1960s, you need to check every drawer, every old box, every forgotten corner of their home, because you might be sitting on a fortune and not even know it. The story begins in 1958, a time when South Africa was minting some of the most extraordinary coins that would later become numismatic legends. The half-cent piece from that year looks innocent enough. A small bronze coin with a sailing ship on one side and the denomination on the other. Most people used these coins to buy candy or pay for newspapers. They jingled in pockets, rolled under furniture, and eventually disappeared into the forgotten corners of history. But here's where it gets absolutely mind-blowing. Certain variations of this 1958 half-cent have been authenticated and sold for staggering amounts that would make even experienced collectors gasp in disbelief. What makes these coins so valuable? It's all about rarity, condition, and the errors that occurred during minting. In 1958, the South African Mint produced millions of half-cents, but only a handful survived in pristine condition. Even fewer have the minting errors that collectors desperately hunt for. We're talking about double strikes, off-center impressions, and die cracks that transform an ordinary coin into a treasure worth thousands. One particular 1958 half-cent with a rare error recently appeared at an international auction, and the bidding war that ensued was absolutely insane. The final hammer price? Well over $15,000 for a coin that could fit in your pocket. Now let's talk about the 1960 50-cent piece, specifically the one marked with both South Africa and Swid Africa on it. This silver beauty is larger, more impressive, and carries secrets that numismatists have studied for decades. The year 1960 was momentous for South Africa, marking the transition from Union status to becoming a republic. The coins minted during this period captured a nation at a crossroads, and certain 50-cent pieces from 1960 have become legendary in the collecting world. The design features the South African coat of arms on one side, surrounded by the dual language inscription that reflects the country's bilingual heritage. On the reverse, you'll find a beautiful springbok, South Africa's national animal, frozen in mid-leap. The craftsmanship is extraordinary. With details so fine, you need a magnifying glass to appreciate them fully. But what collectors really care about is what happened inside the mint during production. In 1960, something remarkable occurred. Certain 50-cent pieces were struck with die variations that shouldn't exist. Some coins show doubled lettering, others have spacing irregularities, and a select few exhibit what experts call proof-like qualities, despite being released for circulation. These anomalies weren't supposed to leave the mint, but somehow they did. And now they're worth absolute fortunes. One authenticated example with a rare die variety sold privately for over $50,000. Another specimen, graded in near-perfect condition, fetched even more at a specialized auction in Europe. But the story doesn't end there. There are whispers in the numismatic community about even rarer variations. Coins that have only been rumored to exist. Some collectors claim there are 1960 50-cent pieces with unique edge reading patterns, possibly test strikes or pattern coins that never should have entered circulation. If someone were to discover one of these mythical pieces and have it authenticated, we could be talking about values exceeding $100,000 or more. The market for these South African coins has exploded in recent years. International collectors from Asia, Europe, and North America are competing fiercely for quality examples. Auction houses report that South African coins from the 1950s and 1960s consistently exceed their estimates, sometimes by 3 or 4 times the projected value. The demand is insatiable, and the supply is incredibly limited. What drives these incredible prices? First, there's the historical significance. These coins represent a specific moment in South African history, a time of change and transformation. Second, the minting quality was exceptional, using high-grade silver and precise striking techniques that produced beautiful coins. Third, and most importantly, very few survived in top condition. Most were spent, circulated, worn down, and eventually discarded or melted. The ones that remain in pristine condition are genuine rarities. Grading is absolutely crucial in this market. A 1960 50-cent piece in average circulated condition might be worth $20 or $30. The exact same coin in uncirculated condition with original mint luster could be worth $2,000. And if that coin happens to have a rare variety or error, the value can skyrocket to $20,000 or more. The difference between a small payday and a life-changing windfall often comes down to how well the coin was preserved and whether it has unique characteristics that set it apart. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC have authenticated and encapsulated numerous South African coins from this era, and their population reports tell a fascinating story. For some date and variety combinations, fewer than 10 examples exist in the highest grades. When one of these ultra-rare pieces comes to market, collectors with deep pockets engage in bidding wars that push prices to stratospheric levels. The authentication process is rigorous and scientific. Experts examine every detail under high-powered magnification, checking for signs of cleaning, alteration, or counterfeiting. They measure the coin's weight, diameter, and thickness with precision instruments. They analyze the metal composition using non-destructive testing methods. They compare the die characteristics to known genuine examples, looking for the tiny identifying markers that confirm authenticity. Only after passing all these tests will a coin receive certification and be assigned a grade that determines its market value. Counterfeits do exist, particularly for the most valuable varieties. Some fakes are crude and easily detected, but others are sophisticated enough to fool inexperienced collectors. This is why authentication by reputable third-party services is essential when dealing with coins that could be worth thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. The investment in professional grading pays for itself many times over by providing confidence and marketability. The stories of discovery are what make this hobby truly exciting. There was a case several years ago where someone cleaning out their grandmother's estate found a small leather pouch containing South African coins from the 1950s and 1960s. Among them were several half-cents and 50-cent pieces that had never been spent. The family brought them to a coin dealer expecting to get perhaps $100 for the lot. The dealer's eyes widened when he examined the coins under magnification. After professional grading and authentication, that small pouch turned out to contain over $80,000 worth of rare coins. The family had been living their entire lives, not knowing they were just one attic discovery away from a fortune. These discoveries happen more often than you'd think. Coins get tucked away in drawers, dropped into jars, stored in safe deposit boxes, and then forgotten. Decades pass, the original owner passes away, and eventually someone stumbles upon these hidden treasures. If you have access to family belongings from this era, especially from relatives who lived in South Africa or collected coins, you owe it to yourself to examine everything carefully. That dusty old coin album or random jar of foreign coins could contain your ticket to financial freedom. The current market conditions are extremely favorable for sellers. Collector demand remains strong while the supply of high-quality material continues to shrink. Coins that sold for a few $1,000s 5 years ago are now commanding prices 2 or 3 times higher. Expert forecasts suggest this upward trend will continue as more wealthy collectors enter the market and compete for the finest examples. If you've been holding on to South African coins from this era, now might be the perfect time to have them evaluated and potentially sold. So, what should you do if you think you might have one of these valuable coins? First, don't clean it under any circumstances. Cleaning destroys value and can turn a $1,000 coin into a $10 coin instantly. Second, handle it carefully by the edges only, avoiding touching the face or back where fingerprints can cause damage. Third, store it safely in a protective holder away from moisture and temperature extremes. Fourth, and most importantly, have it examined by a qualified professional who can assess its authenticity, rarity, and condition. The numismatic world is filled with surprises, fortunes waiting to be discovered in the most unexpected places. That 1958 half-cent might seem insignificant, just a tiny piece of old metal, but to the right collector, it could represent the missing piece in a world-class collection worth whatever price it takes to acquire it. That 1960 50-cent piece could be the rare variety that only exists in a handful of examples worldwide, a coin that museums would covet and collectors would pay premium prices to own. If this video has opened your eyes to the incredible value hiding in plain sight, don't keep this information to yourself. Share this video with everyone you know, especially anyone with connections to South Africa or anyone who inherited coins from that era. Hit that like button because content like this takes serious research and effort to produce. And most importantly, subscribe to this channel so you never miss another revelation about valuable coins that could change your life. Your fortune might be waiting in a forgotten drawer, and the knowledge shared here could be the key to unlocking it. Claude can make mistakes. Please double-check responses. Sonnet 4.5